There you go. The phone's always ringing, you know? You can't...
Hello.
Joe, it's Frank Dello Stritto. Are we going to talk about movies tonight?
Yes, I was just going to call you, but I'm glad you called us.
All right, how you doing?
Say hi to Tom Houck.
Who? Hi!
Can you hear us, Frank?
I can hear you. I can't understand you, but I can hear you.
Just 1 second. Do you want to finish that thought? You were saying...
What, my little story?
Yeah.
Yes, I'll tell you what I do. It's a little secret. I have Frank Sinatra's greatest hits from the 50s, from the Capitol era in my car.
Okay.
And he sings pretty much in a kind of a low tenor. He doesn't go very high. So I sing all the songs in falsetto above him.
Nice.
Just to practice. Just to practice.
What a great idea.
Because you can do it. So you hit like A, B, C maybe, you know, and it's all falsetto. And you can just sing the whole song in falsetto. Because he's singing down like an octave below you.
Tom, you got to come back. You're a great guest.
Well, I'll come back.
Great to see you. Frank, what movie do we have tomorrow night?
It's Pot of Gold, 1941. It's a musical, and it's built around a very popular radio, a big band leader who was very popular on radio and later on television, but I think he's pretty much forgotten today, so I guess we'll test your musical knowledge, because I never heard of him, but maybe you have. His name is Horace Heidt.
No.
You hear of him?
No.
Horace Heidt and his musical nights. Have you ever heard of him?
No.
No!
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, he was quite popular. I'd never heard of him either until you asked me to look into this movie. And he plays himself in it. And the best part of the movie is the musical numbers. It's got an A-list cast. Jimmy Stewart is the star. Paulette Goddard is the leading lady, and they were big stars at the time. And Horace Heidt got third billing, but I think his band music is the best thing about the movie. Interesting thing for Jimmy Stewart, this came out 5 weeks after he won the Academy Award. He won it for The Philadelphia Story, a 1940 movie, so he actually received the award in late February 41, and this movie came out 5 weeks later, and then shortly after that, or maybe even before that, he was gone because he was in the Army for 4 years.
I did not know that.
And if you look at his filmography, he makes 28 films through 1941, and then all of a sudden they stop for 5 years.
Yeah,
Comes back because God bless him, he went in as a private and came out as a colonel. Not many men did that.
All right.
Mostly movie stars, right?
Yeah.
Hey, it's Pot of Gold. So what's the general theme?
The general theme is it's kind of a Frank Capra style musical. Jimmy Stewart is a kind of an altruistic music store owner, and his music, it's hard to make money in the music business then. It's hard now. So his store goes bust, and he winds up relying on his kind of crotchety old uncle, but he never loses his love for music. And living next door is this big band which plays music through the whole movie, driving the uncle crazy, but making Jimmy Stewart as happy as can be, and he falls in love with Paulette Goddard. Now, you'll figure all that out in the first 5 minutes of the movie, so the rest of it you can just sit back and enjoy. I haven't spoiled it for you.
And it's just great music, huh?
I like it. I like, if you like big band music, if you like the big, the 1940s musical numbers, you will enjoy it.
Frank Sinatra we were just talking about.
Hey, Frank.
Yeah. All right. And, I guess Frank Sinatra was just starting out in Hollywood when this movie
He was a
came out.
he was a crooner back during the war. He
Yeah.
he didn't get drafted because of his ear.
Yeah, I think you'll find the plot starts off. I mean, the music is good throughout. The plot starts off kind of familiar. It gets a little weak, but then it picks up at the end. It's got it picks up a lot of energy near the end of the film.
This movie?
The producer of this movie is James Roosevelt, whose father was president at the time. So it's like the Obama girls got together and made a movie.
All right.
So, and I don't know much about James Roosevelt's movie career, but he has at least this one film to his credit.
And I'm going to tell our audience again, it's tomorrow night at 9 o'clock. Pot of Gold plays here on Winkham on the Public Domain movie. Frank is kind enough to call in. Frank, you have been playing every week because we did 3 weeks in the studio, not live. How was your journey?
Oh, I went to Hawaii for my son's wedding, and I was having a great time, but then the day of the wedding came, and the preacher came out with not a Bible, not a book of ceremony or prayer. He came out with his Kindle, and I felt like an old man.
A Kindle for a wedding?
Yes, he
I'm outraged. Martha Stewart is really upset.
Now, my wife enjoyed it, the ceremony, and the younger generation did. I felt like an old man. I thought some of the ritual was lost. You know.
I agree.
So it was just a shock to me that anybody would do that. I thought that would be the last holdout.
So now you have a daughter-in-law.
Now I have a daughter-in-law, and I also can say I've been to Hawaii, which is a great place to visit. Not cheap there. What are you paying for gas up in your area? Gasoline?
$3.69, $3.79.
Okay, that's pretty close to what we're paying here. I can beat that by a little, but not by much. But in
Texas, he's in Texas.
Texas.
Yeah, in Hawaii, I never saw gas for less than about $4.70, and usually I was paying $4.90 a gallon.
Oh.
Now, that's the bad news. The good news is those islands aren't very big, so you can't drive a heck of a lot. So you probably spend more on gasoline just day to day up in Boston, and certainly in Texas, because we can go farther before we fall in the ocean.
Now, your son and daughter-in-law, are they honeymooning in Hawaii?
They're honeymooning in Hawaii. I guess destination weddings are the in thing.
Oh.
So they actually got married in Hawaii, and then now they're on their honeymoon. They'll be back in town. Oh, not this town, but they'll be back in the country next week.
I got to write that down. It's a new song title, Destination Weddings.
There you go.
Yes.
Sounds good.
Oh, yeah. I felt like an old man when I said, what are you getting married in? You know, people call me up and say, where should we get married? And I say, I got two words for you, Jersey or Disney. Take your pick. And they all laugh at me, but they're going off to these exotic places. So the downside is you can't get a lot of the family to go. So if you want to get your family together for a wedding, you should have it next door, not across the ocean.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, but
I'm wearing my Hawaiian T-shirt just in honor of your son's wedding.
Okay.
Mom and Dad brought this back for my brother's wedding, so.
All right.
You know.
How much time have you got left? We about out?
We've got about another minute.
Okay. Let me mention that the movie is directed by George Marshall, who you've probably never heard of him, but if you've watched 1930s and 40s movies, you had to have seen one of his movies because he was all over the place. He directed Laurel and Hardy movies. He directed Martin and Lewis movies. He directed W.C. Fields. He actually directed Jimmy Stewart in one of Stewart's best films, probably his best film before the war, Destry Rides Again. He directed Bob Hope a lot. He directed The Blue Dahlia, which is the movie that gave the Black Dahlia, the murder victim, her name.
From Medford, Massachusetts.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, she's your neighbor.
My house. It's right near my house, the plaque. I'll have to videotape it over the weekend, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Videotape it and put it on the YouTube so I can see it.
Yeah, I'll do that. It's right near my house in the Sunny Variety Store, right at the yield sign.
Yeah. And another thing, when Jimmy Stewart won his Academy Award 5 weeks before this movie came out, one of the actors he beat was Charlie Chaplin for The Great Dictator.
And that's our show.
That's our show. Charlie Chaplin was married to Paulette Goddard, who was the leading lady in this